Hi guys, hope you're well. Welcome to DOdaily, Thursday Thoughts, your questions answered, live. It's Des here. Hopefully you're having a great week. Hopefully you're enjoying the improvements to the weather. Finally, it feels like it's starting to pick up. I'm having a pretty good week, lots of exciting things. I'm sure if you've tuned in so far, you'll know all about those. But of course, yesterday was the reintroduction of group activity, in-person activity for the running members locally, something that's a real passion of mine, sort of delivering activity and putting on these sessions where everyone can get together. And of course, over the last sort of 14 months, it's been really sort of difficult to not have that, whilst I've been trying really hard to do other things, get people sort of on board and interact in other ways. It's so good to have those groups back, really sort of buzzing on how well it went. It was absolutely fantastic. Lots of guys turned up, really made the most of being back together. And to be honest, it almost felt like COVID was over. It's definitely not. There's still lots we have to do and sort of work within the guidelines and rules and all the restrictions. But it just almost felt like we'd forgot about that. Whilst we sort of adhered to what we needed to, it was almost like that was the new normal. Nobody used the word, nobody said this is the new normal, but it just felt like we were moving forward properly again. And that's an absolutely fantastic feeling to have, isn't it? Personally, it's meant for a busy week for myself. Of course, I've been away and had a couple of days, and whilst I was away, I was working hard in preparation for yesterday and getting the groups back up and running. So it's not been as straightforward as it may appear. A couple of difficult DOdaily has been quite difficult, being somewhere where the signal wasn't fantastic, getting it to upload, and then sort of doing it around the group as well. It just means a little bit of a rethink. Whilst I don't plan on stopping what I'm doing, I absolutely love it. I really need to sort of structure it again so it works for me. And because to be honest, whilst I'm feeling fantastic about everything, I've perhaps, and this is something I always sort of say through DOdaily, I've perhaps lost a bit of sort of focus on myself and on the things that have kept me strong and kept me sort of healthy and well. So I've been ploughing through my work, and I kind of preempted this a couple of weeks ago, didn't I? I mentioned the fact that when everything opens up, I feel like we're going to sort of almost do this, that, and the other, and forget about all the good things that we've done, and one of those for me is the walking and the activity. Whilst I can't run at the moment, which is really, really frustrating me, one of my real sort of irks and one of the things that sort of knocks on to not doing certain things and gets me out of routine, I guess. I've got to remember to get those walks in, get out there, do all the things I do daily at the set times, and really sort of keep to that structure, because when I do, I'm feeling fantastic about it. And that's what it's all about, isn't it? It's just about working through week by week. I always say on a Thursday, can't believe where we're at. Of course, we're getting towards the end of May. May bank holidays coming up on us, and again, sort of lots to sort of look forward to there over the weekend, lots to plan in. But I'm definitely keen to sort of keep encouraging that activity and keep sort of realising what's worked, because it's something that's really dawned on me amongst all the excitement. It's really dawned on me that I cannot forget about all the good things I've done. And like I said, I had preempted it, so I should have known a little bit better. But that's just life, isn't it? That's just how things pan out. We get a little bit tied up in what we're doing, and we get distracted by this. So I'm not beating myself up over it. It's just start of a new month, I guess. June is going to give me a brand new opportunity, whilst we can start at any moment. I've just used that sort of changeover of the month straight after the bank holiday to give me a bit of a kickstart. The weather's improving, so there's lots of reasons to get out and get these big long walks in, something I've not been able to do. And I kind of realised that, I've been really missing it. Whilst of course, I love the running. You know, I love those long walks where I can get lost with myself and really get out there and enjoy it. So just a reminder there that we've got to sort of just keep evaluating whilst things are sort of getting back to that normal, whatever that is, stage. It's just important amongst all that sort of busyness, all that excitement, all that encouragement, that even more is going to come back, that we've just got to remember where we are and remember what works for us. And this has been fantastic. So definitely something I want to take forward. Hopefully you've managed to stay on top of your situation. You know, like I say, getting your activity, that's what Do Daily is all about. Encouragement from that. That's what I feel is my real purpose these days. So it's important just to sort of keep passing that message on, let you know when it's not quite going so well, when it's running a bit smoother than normal as well, you know, to balance things off, because it's not a straight journey. It's not straightforward for myself all the time, you know. And whilst I love doing things like this, I love to be honest more than anything, because that's what pulls me out of this situation and makes me realise that where I do need to sort of improve, what I find now by talking a lot, by sort of some of the other things I do and the things I post, it kind of triggers my mind into sort of action. It makes me realise if this happens or I'm feeling this way, I think go walk, do daily, you know, listen to something, you know, and that's how it works for me, just to get me into these good habits again. So look, I'm going to use June, like I say, as a real sort of pick me up, you know, as something to sort of set some new targets, set some new goals, and that's something that I feel is really important, isn't it? And that's quite a nice lead into the first question today. Again, thanks to the people who've sent questions in. Dawn asked the question, do you think part 1 will return as planned on the 26th of June, or will it be delayed again? Of course, with doing activities together, you know, the excitement's out there about what else we can do, where else we can do it. You know, whilst I encourage people to come and enjoy what we've got and enjoy our sort of COVID-safe environment, it's fantastic to see such things as Part 1. Part 1 was a massive inspiration for me in what I do today. You know, I took so much from it, initially personally, and then sort of later on, I kind of used some of their ways, you know, some of the things without sort of copying their model. You know, I'm inspired to sort of encourage people in similar ways. So it's a real big thing, and lots of people obviously get the benefit from it. And you can, the fact you can run, walk, you know, spectate, even these days, volunteer, you know, it just gives something for everyone. It's such an uplifting start to a Saturday morning. Those who do enjoy it, lots of people around me really use it to get the weekend off to a real uplifting and fantastic start. So it's definitely missed, you know, and it was due to come back actually on the 5th of June, but there was a few issues with landowners not giving permission and a confusion about COVID rules. So they've rescheduled that now till the end of June. They've got a lot more sort of, they've put a lot more agreements in place where they're going to be back. And basically, Dawn's just asking, do I think that'll happen? My honest answer is, I'm not sure. I think so. Do you know, today is actually the first day in God knows how many months I've watched one of these press conferences at 5 o'clock. Do you know, and whilst there's concern around the Indian variant, I'm sure that's why Dawn asked the question. Do you know, they see the politicians seem very optimistic that this is not going to sort of transmit into these proposals to get us back to normal. You know, so hopefully people will keep taking the jab, people will keep doing all the things they need to do in terms of staying safe. You know, and we'll get back to that point where we can do all the normal things. I definitely want to get to some events that I've got planned, you know, spectator events, cricket, football, you know, because I'm really missing those things. So it's one of those things, isn't it? The more we stick to things, the better we can stick to them. for the time being, for the next few weeks, and keep these numbers down. I'm sure we're going to get to a stage where everything will go back to normal. I've already touched on the fact quickly things are going back to normal, and all of a sudden our lives become a lot more busier, a lot fuller, a lot more to do, people to see, expectation placed upon us. And for myself, that's just kind of meant a bit of a rethink, or it means I'm going to have to have a rethink on how I do everything. So it's just important to sort of remember that and remember where things are going to fit in. But in terms of the question, I don't see any reason yet. We've been here before, haven't we? And we've faced the disappointments. But I like to be positive. I like to think we're moving forward. I actually said to Kay after the do running session last night, nobody actually mentioned COVID in the whole situation. Whilst we had to do what we had to do, nobody mentioned COVID. So that's a sign that people are all almost accepting things and moving forward. So that was fantastic to feel like we can now sort of really plan things in. As somebody who spends a lot of time outdoors, which Parkrun obviously is, I can arrange events for a certain number of people, to go out and walk and run, and that's exactly what I've done. The bank holiday weekend's coming up. I've planned a good walk in, 17 miles, trying to invite people into that. It's free, it's accessible, it's just, again, hopefully going to be a nice day with the weather improving. What have we done to deserve bank holiday sunshine at the moment? But it's just things to be involved in, isn't it? And that's all we're all eager to do. So hopefully, fingers crossed, Saturday mornings from the end of June, this time next month, will be full of Parkrun and all the joy people get from that. If anybody's not seen it, I spoke to a couple of guys at the running group yesterday about Parkrun who didn't know much about it, which was really interesting, because I just assumed, mixing in these circles, that absolutely everybody knows about Parkrun. But I was telling them about it, my enthusiasm for it was coming over. I told them to register. They said they was going to go away. It's just basically a free time 5K. Like I said before, you can walk, you can run, you can volunteer just to sort of support the event. They're hosted in local parks throughout the world now. I was going to say up and down the country, but all over the world, there's thousands of these things. And they're really well attended. My local Parkrun gets about 200, 250 every week. There's others in sort of far-flung places where they get a handful. But again, it's just something put on for people to get out and be active. And it's definitely worth checking out if you're not aware of it yet. So thanks for the question, Dawn. Really appreciate that, and really looking forward to going to that first part when I'm sure we'll be doing it together with some of the other guys too. Question 2. This is a question from Kay. She's gone out at the moment. She's left me on my own this evening. So she left me a question before she went. Have you a plan for how you'll build up back from injury? Well, the first thing I say is I've already mentioned the fact that I'm going to use June to sort of set some new goals, get back into some good habits with my eating, with my drinking. We all know when we're sort of consuming the right things that it's much better for our body. We recover much more quickly. In all reality, I've had a bit of a heavy month, with probably a little bit too much drink here and there, and a little bit too much fatty foods and the wrong foods. Whilst that's not a problem, I've worked really hard at the start of the year until the injury, but again, with the injury, it kind of just knocked me off track. There has been a few things to celebrate. My birthday at the start of the month, of course, the group's coming back, and being able to meet with people in the pubs again. So I'm not beating myself up too much, but the start of the recovery almost is thinking what I'm going to do from June going forward, and now I'm going to kick back in and give it a real big effort. From that, I'm just going to look to ease my way in. I was ill sort of at the start of 2020, and I recovered. And what I had to do, I was trying to rush it. I was trying to get back in, and it took me till the end of 2020 to really sort of sit back and realize that it wasn't working. So hopefully I'm not going to make that same mistake twice. I'm going to look at the bigger picture, try and work off that consistency, take it easy, build myself up again, whilst there is a rush because I've got certain events I want to train and do well at, there's no point rushing if it's going to knock me back even further. Running in particular is something I get so much from. So why sort of push myself too much for the short term and then risk doing it again? I got some real consistency at the start of the year. I managed to run for 152 days. And while some might think that was the cause of the injury, it definitely wasn't. It was, I think it was actually down to a trainer, which is another subject completely. But it was, I took it steady. I worked with other people, at their pace. Some days I pushed it when I felt like it, but I really found that enjoyment from it again. And that's something I don't want to miss. So it's really important for me to sort of take it easy, build back up, and be in a position to do these events. And then if I'm not quite where I want to be, I need to sort of either consider whether I need to do them. I probably will, because I am a little bit stubborn. Or just sort of use them to sort of keep measuring progress again, not go sort of full pelt and sort of risk damaging myself again, Got an hamstring injury, which is niggling away, really frustrating me right now. So it's just a case of just taking it easy, like I say. Everything I spoke about today kind of relates back to this injury. And the reality is, whilst today's not really about mental health and these kind of things, it does affect mine. This is why I sort of lose routines and get into bad habits again, is because I can't do the thing I really want to do most. I take that much from it. Some people might think that's a little bit crazy. It's a little bit sort of, you'll often hear people say, oh, you runners are obsessed. Wow. I saw a quote the other day that says, people who say you're obsessed are just... it's just an excuse for them being lazy. But whichever way you look at it, it's we are a little bit obsessed because we know how much it does work, and it's definitely worked for me. It's put me in a much better, sort of happier place in the last 5 years. Would never have sort of said or done some of the things that I say and do now, because I wasn't comfortable within my own skin, within my own body and mind, but these days I'm quite happy, to be honest, when I'm getting it right and wrong. And of course, that's what the live session is all about, answering these questions. So I really appreciate those guys, really appreciate you popping them in. I'll just pop up the email address. If you've got anything for next week, I'd really, really appreciate some input. Of course, I try and put myself out there to help others. This is just a small favour I'm asking in return. Everything I give out, my time, my efforts, is absolutely free, no obligation. But if you can sort of help me on this one, without your help, it won't work. Of course, I've got my staunch viewers there. Kay's got no choice, and Dawn's a massive supporter of what I do. So if anyone else has got any input, I'd love you to sort of pop that in. A couple of things there around activity, around the way I'm feeling. That's all it's about. Doesn't have to be about those subjects either. It could be something much less serious. It could be about how I deal with this, how I dealt with that. Ask me about the past, the present, the future, whatever's on your mind, really. If you've got a question during the week, just pop it in on any of the comments on any episode of DOdaily, any of the social media posts, and I'll pick that up. The links to the social media are going across the bottom of the screen there, so please check out all that if you're looking to get inspired into activity. But like I say, it's not all about that. It definitely isn't. It's about just making small changes, doing little things, listening to different people, different perspectives of trying to sort of move forward and do it that little bit better. And that's all I'm saying. I mentioned at the start that I mentioned throughout, the weather's improving. So the throwback question this week, why not pop it on before you finish watching the video? That makes it easy then. You've done it. What will the improving weather do to assist your activity levels? really keen to find out a little bit more about this one, do a bit of research and get a bit of opinion. I touched on the fact that the weather is improving, but also life's getting busy again. People are having to travel, people are having to meet other people. So how is the weather going to help that? Will you get out early in the morning? Will you go out later? Of course, that's something people do when it's warm as well. I just want to sort of get a consensus of opinion of how it's going to work for you. I know personally, I'm more likely to get up and get out of bed and go for a walk, a run when I can. But I've already said to Kay, next week I plan to get up every single day and go for a walk, whilst I generally do it on a Thursday, although we didn't today, and of course wake up to walk on a Friday. I'm going to try and sort of work on that habit again, because when that one works for me, it puts me it gives me a head start, I feel, on the rest of the day. So with this weather, is summer finally here? And it's definitely with fingers crossed. How will the improving weather assist your activity levels? If you could drop us a comment, that'd be fantastic. Like I say, if you can post your questions to des@dorunning.org.uk or on any of the comments to the videos or social media. Really appreciate it. Really looking to sort of help and encourage, inspire people to do different things and get the absolute most from life, because we have to, don't we? There's so much going off out there. There's so much going on, lots of sort of personal worries still and things like that. But it's things we have to deal with. It doesn't change, from day to day unless we change. We're the only ones that can really affect anything, because we do have choices and we do have our own minds. So until wake up to walk tomorrow, where I'll be back on that Robin Hood way, 33 miles in this week, leg 8, starting at Blythe Bottoms. I'll be looking to add a few more miles to that. Really looking forward to a part of Nottinghamshire I don't know at all. I've never been to in my life. So like last week, hopefully it's a pleasant surprise. It was fantastic last week. I actually felt last Friday's DOdaily was one of my best videos yet, one of my best episodes. It's always a work in progress. I'm not trained, I'm not qualified to do any of this or speak for a living, about any of the subjects I do. It's just a little bit of a reality check, and somebody who experiences life in all the ways everybody else does. So if you can join me for that, I'll explain where I am, a few facts about the place, what I'm doing, and why it's so important at this point in my particular journey, and how I'm going to use it to go forward. Look ahead to the weekend, look back at the week a little bit more, and then sort of really attack it from next week onwards. So keep tuning in, guys. If you've liked the episode, please give it a thumbs up, please share, and of course subscribe if you haven't. They're creeping up slightly, so again, that's a small win, isn't it? And it's more reason to make sure I do what I want to do through DOdaily. I put that structure back in and get it done properly and keep working at it and keep progressing. So for now, guys, thanks for watching, thanks for listening. Don't forget to keep posting those questions. Just doing it.